Welcome to Dr. Twistid's realm of madness.
Oh, hey, Deads and Laurels. I was just reading today's review comic, The Asylum of Horrors, put out by Asylum Press. I don't know how I've managed to stay up though. I've been up for 6 days, 6 hours, and 6 minutes straight working on an experiment, and I'm so tired. I figured I would read a little bit before I retired for the evening, but I can barely keep my eyes open. I wonder what these crazies are up to today.
What are you doing?
You see a damn grown-up freak bats. Look at this freak show.
I'm evil. No, I'm not. Look, a pretty butterfly.
Hey, you. I said we
Yeah.
Wow, that babysat my circus monkey. Holy Jesus at a leotard convention, that was one messed up nightmare. I guess that's what I get for reading such insane, mind-altering stories before catching some shut-eye. Anyway, The Asylum of Horrors has to be one of the best horror comics I have ever read, and I read a lot of them. From cover to disturbing cover, this comic is oozing with some of the best talent in the business, and that goes for both issues. Hell, instead of talking about it, let me show you. Right off the bat, you get some cool pin-ups like this one by Ray McCord and this one by David Hartman. Then we move on to the first story called Enter the Doctor, which is written by Frank Forte and illustrated by J.C. Wong. The stories are all different lengths and ever-changing art styles, like this one-page story called Infector, written and drawn by Dinah Dusunja, and The Dollhouse, written and illustrated by Aaron Rintoul. You even get some black and white, highly detailed art in this awesome story called Ruined Earth by Billy George, and this one called The Last Line by Attila Futaki. Here's a pinup by Tim Vigil called Frankenfreak, and another great story by Frank Forte and J.C. Wong called The Corridor. Speaking of Tim Vigil, I was able to meet him at MegaCon this year, and him and his brothers Jeff and Joe signed the cover to issue number 2, which makes me a very happy mad scientist. Enough fanboy nonsense, it's time to move on to the goods, like this pinup by Frank Forte, and this one by David Palio. Now on to the stories like this one called Jax by Frank Forte and Mike Bliss. Also within these pages is a pinup by Dinah Dusunja, and the story Survival Extinction Part 1 by Jeff, Joe, and Tim Vigil. You also get this story called Expendable by Marcin Panamaru and Royal McGraw, and yet even another story called Connection by Frank Forte. There are also continuation stories from the first issue, and this awesome back cover illustration by Billy George. Now both these books have a lot more in them than what I showed you, and it is all beyond amazing, but they are only for mature readers due to violence, gore, nudity, and everything else that us adults enjoy. It sucks to be a kid now, doesn't it? For more info on Asylum Press comics, go to asylumpress.com. You will be glad you did. And if you want me to review your independent horror comic, then send a review copy to Dr. Twistid's HCR, P.O. Box 260995, Tampa, Florida 33685 through 0995. Now go away and let me sleep, will you?